Good morning, children. Hope you're all safe and healthy. So, today let's go to the poem in Unit 1, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, written by Robert Frost. So, before we get into the poem, I would like to ask you a few questions. Have you ever traveled through a forest? So, if you have done it, how did you feel traveling through the forest? So, did you have any time to stop and enjoy the beauty of nature? So, I hope I would get a very big no from most of you. The thing is, we take everything around us, the beauty of nature is taken for granted. So, here this poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, is about one such occasion when a person or maybe a speaker stands near the woods or forest on his way back and admires the beauty of the nature. So let's go to the poem Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. Before we go to the poem, let's have a short introduction about the poet Robert Frost. So he is an American poet noted for his realistic descriptions of rural life. So all his descriptions in his poems are so much real, and it is about village life. And he was born in 26 March 1874, where he spent his 40 years of life as a person who's not in limelight. He received 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry and was a special guest at President John F. Kennedy's swearing-in ceremony. He became the unofficial poet laureate of the United States. So, who is a poet laureate? Poet laureate is a person appointed by the government to compose poetry on special occasions or events. So, Robert Frost was an unofficial poet laureate of the US. His famous works are The Road Not Taken, West Running Brook, Mending Wall, After Apple Picking, and so many other things. Let's get into the poem now. Children, this poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, is a memory poem. So, please listen to me carefully and memorize the poem. Now we'll go to the poem. Whose words these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it cure to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. These woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So children, this poem is a very wonderful poem where a speaker thinks of his responsibilities that are lying ahead when he stops to wonder at nature. So I'll go with the explanation. Let's go to the first stanza. Whose words these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though he will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. So, the speaker of this poem is on his way through the woods on a snowy evening, and he stops near the woods to wonder at the beauty of the nature. So the woods are so dark and it is so lovely. He is very sure that he knows the person who owns the woods. So what is this woods? Woods is a group of trees. So it is like a forest but not as big as a forest. And this speaker, he stays in that place and he wonders at the beauty of the woods, and he also knows the person who owns these woods, and he thinks that the owner will never be able to know that the speaker is here wandering at his woods because the owner is staying away in a village. The owner is far away and the speaker takes the opportunity to stand by and wonder at the beautiful trees that are covered with snow on this snowy evening. The second stanza is, "My little horse must think it cure to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year." The speaker's horse felt it very strange to stop by in the middle of a forest with no farmhouse nearby. So the horse must have felt, okay, why is my master asking me to stop in the middle of the woods? And see, they are standing in between the dark woods and the frozen lake. So they are in a path where one side they could see woods or trees covered with snow and the other side is a frozen lake. It was a snowy and cold evening and it is very dark outside, that the speaker feels that this day is the darkest evening of the year. So, to the next paragraph. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound is a sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The horse is still confused why his master is asking him to stay or halt in between the woods. So he is shaking his harness bells. What is this harness bells? So harness bells are those straps put around the mouth and face and neck of the horse to control it. So he is shaking it just to ask his master if there is any problem half the way. Why are we stopping? So the speaker is still admiring the beauty of the nature, that he could only hear the sweeping or the very swift sound of wind that flows in between the trees and all the snowflakes that fall to the ground. The last paragraph is the most important of all the three. So here this stanza shows about the responsibility and obligations that lies ahead these trees for the speaker. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So here the speaker says that though the scenery or though the nature and though the things around him are so beautiful and so wonderful that he keeps admiring them, he had lot many other responsibilities and duties in his hand before he reaches his home. So though the things around us are so positive and so wonderful, we cannot stay in a particular place for a longer time. Though the trees around him are so beautiful, he cannot be staying in that place for a longer time because he had so many promises and duties to be done before he sleep. Before his death or before a person's death, a person cannot be stagnant in a place wondering at the things around him. But he has so many other responsibilities in his hand which he has to complete before he lies to an eternal sleep. So this is the poem all about. So hope you have understood. Children, please go through the poem again and again, and this is a memory poem. Kindly memorize it. Thank you.